Welcome this morning to our recorded service for March 29th. For our announcements this morning, our Sunday school's been canceled until later date. Of course, our worship services are now recorded. On Wednesday, we have a Bible study. We've had 4 people for the last 2 weeks, so we can take 6 more. We are doing a Lent study, walking with Christ. Next Sunday is Palm Sunday, and it's also Communion Sunday. We are going to have communion and worship at the parking lot and at Wallace. I invite you all to come. You will not be out of your car. There'll be a short message. And then for communion, you will receive a prepackaged wafer and juice. Nobody will touch this. It will be delivered to you in your car. Then we will take communion together as a community. We also are going to have a Bible study at Places of Family Night on Wednesday, April 8th. Maundy Thursday and Good Friday services have been canceled. And then the Easter service will also be in the parking lot at Wallace. We may have to dodge some construction materials, but we'll drive out on the grass if we have to. I just think it's important for us to be there for those 2 Sundays. I want you to ask you to remember your tithes. Please send your offerings to the Wallace United Methodist Church, attention Barbara Brock at P.O. Box 74. This morning our scripture comes from John 19:28 through 29. I will be reading from the New International Version. Hear the word of our Lord. Later, knowing that everything had been finished, and so that scripture would be fulfilled, Jesus said, I am thirsty. A jar of wine vinegar was there. So they soaked a sponge in it, put the sponge on the stalk of the hyssop plant, and lifted it to Jesus' lips. This is the word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. Amen. Near the end of that dreadful 6 hours on that Friday, Jesus had become exactly what Isaiah had described in Isaiah 53. His form disfigured had lost all the likeness of a man. His beauty had changed beyond human semblance, tormented and humbled by suffering. We held him of no account, a thing from which all turned away their eyes. While Jesus was being crucified, 3 times he was offered something to drink, some wine to drink. The first time he was offered was before he was hung on the cross. He was offered according to Matthew, wine mixed with gall. And according to Mark, it was wine mixed with myrrh. The purpose of this mixture with wine, whatever it was, whether it was gall or myrrh or whatever it was mixed with the wine to do one of two things. Either to speed up death, in other words, some kind of light poison that would hasten the death. The other thought is that it was a pain reliever, that it would take away the pain that they felt. The purpose of the crucifixion was to inflict pain, so I'm not real sure I believe with that. Jesus tasted the mixture and refused to drink it. Jesus refused to drink it because Jesus was intentionally suffering on the cross. He was suffering on the cross to identify with human suffering. He felt all the pain that humanity could inflict on him, and that pain was coming from those who were feeling the pain. Jesus refused to drink that poison, to take the easy way out. Jesus was there suffering, and he refused that drink. He didn't want the easy way out, the comfortable way out. We, on the other hand, when we face pain or suffering, we want that easy way out. We sometimes even refuse to acknowledge the pain or the suffering that we're feeling because we want to feel good. We want all the time to feel good, to minimize the pain. We want to avoid the uncomfortable feelings that we have, or we want to avoid inconvenience. Jesus took the uncomfortable way by choice. Sometimes Jesus calls us to a more uncomfortable route, something that's more risky way of living. And Jesus calls us to do that so that the glory of God can be revealed to us and to others. Jesus calls us. How is Jesus calling us right now? In the middle of this coronavirus, this COVID-19, what is Jesus calling you to do? Maybe he's calling you to check on others. Pick up the phone and call. Just to let people know you're thinking about them. To check to see if they have a need. And to provide for that need. To share with others. The hoarding that has been going on is just made it impossible for some people to get the things that they need. And maybe we can be sharing with them. And having said that, I want to ask you, our members of the church, those of y'all that would be interested in calling and checking on other members, if you would let me know, would like to make a list of the membership and those who attend the church, that we could make sure we can divide them up, 10, 12 people for each person, and we can make sure everybody gets a call. The second time that Jesus was offered wine to drink, was after Jesus was nailed to the cross. Luke tells us that the soldiers mocked Jesus in this offer of wine, this wine vinegar. They actually acted like it was a toast to the king of the Jews. So you are the king. Here's a toast to you. It reminds me of the way the soldiers mocked Jesus at his beating, when they put a crown of thorns on his head and a robe on his shoulders and yelled, "King of the Jews." It's unlikely that they offered Jesus a drink. Maybe they put it up right up before his mouth, but they could not reach it. The third offer was in response to Jesus saying, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Someone heard that, and they ran and grabbed a sponge and dipped it in the wine vinegar and put it on a hyssop stick and offered it to Jesus. That hyssop stick is not just by coincidence. When the Jews were released from Egypt, on that night of Passover in Egypt, they took a hyssop stick and dipped it in the blood of the lamb that they had just slaughtered and put it on a doorpost so that God will pass over that house as he was inflicting death on the firstborn of the Egyptians. That hyssop stick is what was used to offer this wine vinegar to Jesus. As the hyssop stick in Egypt was used to put blood on the doorpost to begin that covenant with God, this is a new covenant that was offered to Jesus. And as Jesus was offered on that cross, the Lamb of God was offered wine on that hyssop. Jesus was crucified at Passover. The Lamb of God crucified for us. Our reading says that Jesus said, in order that Scripture could be fulfilled. What Scripture was Jesus thinking of? What Scripture was he fulfilling? Most scholars point to Psalm 69 in verse 21 when Jesus says, when the psalmist said many centuries before Jesus, they gave me vinegar for my thirst. This cry, I'm thirsty, I am thirsty. This cry shows Jesus' humanity. In hospitals, when people are dying, they often cry for something to drink. Often ice crystals are brought in and spooned into their mouth to offer them some relief. Jesus is fully human, and that's what John wants us to understand this scripture, that I'm thirsty. Jesus was thirsty. Jesus had all the thirst that a human had. He was fully human. during his 40 days in the wilderness, Jesus thirsted. And after the temptations listed in the scripture, it says that the angels came and ministered to Jesus. They came and gave him something to drink. I'm reminded that Jesus thirsted at a well in Samaria. That led to that conversation with the woman. He thirsted. I'm reminded that he thirsted at a wedding in Canaan when he provided wine for the party. Before his death, Jesus thirsted just as we do. In John 7, Jesus says, "Let anyone who is thirsty come to me and drink." What does it mean? That the source of living water is now thirsty. Can you feel the tragedy of the moment? I am thirsty. This was after Jesus had been hanging on that cross for hours. The fount of living water was drying out. I thirst. In Psalm 42, verses 1 and 2, I'm reminded of these verses. As the deer pants for streams of water, so my soul pants for you, my God. My soul thirsts for God, for the living God. Maybe Jesus was talking about an inner thirst for himself, for God. Jesus, in the last 3 years of his life, lived a difficult life, trembling, preaching. Maybe he was hanging on that cross, knowing that he was dying. Maybe he was longing to be with his Father. Or maybe Jesus was pointing back to that Sermon on the Mount when he said, "Blessed are those who are hungry and thirst for righteousness." Perhaps those words that Jesus spoke, "I am thirsty," were meant for those at the cross, were meant for us. Maybe it was a prayer to God, thirsting for God, to be home with his Father. What are you thirsting for? What hope will give satisfaction to you? Money? This coming check from the government on this bill that was passed? Does that give you hope? Maybe a new house, new car, some other material thing. Will that satisfy you? Will a cure for COVID-19 satisfy you? If you stay in your house and quarantine yourself and don't have to face that issue, that disease, will that satisfy you? this COVID-19 has interrupted our worship opportunities, our church. All of the churches throughout this world have been interrupted by this disease. Will church back to normal satisfy you? Brings up the question, what is normal? The church has learned, I hope, during this session with this disease, this coronavirus, that there is more to church than meeting on Sunday morning and having an hour of worship and then leaving. It's opening ourselves to others for the opportunity to serve them, to pick up the phone and call and see what others need. Maybe a church building, a new church, where we won't have to worship in this community center and can worship in our own church. Will that satisfy you? As people stood watching Jesus die on that cross, someone heard Jesus say, I am thirsty. Someone heard Jesus cry out. And that person had the courage to go and dip that sponge in the wine and put it on that hyssop stick and offer a drink to Jesus. This is a crowd that is cursing Jesus, that is giving Jesus a hard time. And so this person who offered Jesus a drink on that hyssop branch had to risk the scorn of that crowd. We can still offer a drink to Jesus. We can still reach out to those who are physically and spiritually thirsty. We can reach out to those who are in need during this quarantine or this social distancing as a result of COVID-19. As the one who offered the drink to Jesus faced the scorn of the crowd, if we do reaching out to others, we risk being scorned. Remember, in Matthew 25, Jesus says, whatever you did for the least of these, you did for me. So when we risk that scorn and offer a drink to Jesus' children, we risk the scorn, but we know that we do it for Jesus. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.